President Ramaphosa has said he's going to cut short his overseas trip due to the rolling stage 6 blackouts here in South Africa. And the ANC in Gauteng is scheduled to hold a special meeting this Friday to deliberate on several issues affecting them. Well, let's unpack the week ahead. Political issues on the spot host. Let's put him on the spot now. Political analyst Lukhona Mnguni joining us. Morning to you, Lukhona. Good to have you on our show as well. Lovely show over the weekend, by the way. If you missed it, head over to YouTube and to also enca.com and go and watch. So the president, he says, is coming back to deal with stage 6. How much hope does that fill you with? He's had meetings, we're told, meetings with the top people to address this. How hopeful are you?
Well, good morning, Gareth, and good morning to our ENCA viewers. I'm definitely not hopeful. He could just hop on to the next flight and go to New York and attend the United Nations General Assembly. Of course, there are South Africans who have been putting pressure, saying that the president is globe-trotting while there is a crisis in the country. But a glimpse of a bit of, historical review shows that the president has done this previously. I think it was 2019, if I'm not mistaken, when he cut short a visit to Egypt and came back to attend to Eskom problems. I think even then we were dealing with a stage 6 crisis. Of course, the president had visited some of the Eskom plants and met with the senior management in July of this year. There are a series of interventions that have been implemented. If you look at Eskom since the 2018 moment of appointing the new board, and of course that board eventually getting rid of certain executives, and then appointing Andre Direte as the CEO. Gareth, a quick glance at the problem is that you've got a president, you've got ministers who are in charge, you've got a chairperson of the board, you've got a CEO of Eskom, and all of these people, none of them is an engineer, and actually none of them actually understand the reports that land on their tables.
And I was about to say, what is this going to do politically for the president? Because how are the ANC card-carrying members, and later, a couple of years from now, how is the South African public going to rate Cyril Ramaphosa as far as handling this crisis is concerned? Let's start with December. That's much closer as well. What's the ANC and what are the members of the ANC going to do about this come December? Because they also have load shedding, don't they?
Absolutely, they do have load shedding, but I was listening to a conversation yesterday afternoon between Chula Sizwe and Liv Raindo on the channel, and a very interesting question that Chula's unpacked is, it's curious how the political leadership contestation within the governing party has nothing to do with people advancing their vision for the state. Of course, the president tried with what he had named a New Deal to say this is what he would do if he is elected president. But generally, there is acceptance that the party elective conference is really about that. It's about the machinations within the organization. And therefore, I do not foresee load shedding becoming a political issue come December 2022. Those who have already been on the narrative that the president is not acting sufficiently enough in terms of transformation of the state, things are getting a little more worse, cost of living issues, petrol prices, electricity disruptions, and all of that. That narrative has already been there. I don't think that it will materially affect December 2022. But I do think that if we carry on this way towards 2024, the populace will really have to take a tough decision and begin to marry its socio-economic plight to the way and patterns in which we have been voting over the years. And I think if load shedding and or the power blackouts, as they keep rolling, and if they roll towards 2024, it may put the African National Congress in a very difficult position, because there is already so much that is going to be a factor in those elections. I think unemployment will be at an ultimate high, cost of living will be rocketing through the roof, safety levels will have significantly decreased, and of course tolerance levels in our society might actually be at an ultimate low in terms of how people tolerate differing political views and social commentary.
Yeah, the president keeps on saying we need to be patient, but unfortunately, patience will eventually run out. And I don't want to put a thumbnail in a calendar, but I suspect 2024 might be where the straw breaks the camel's back. Lukhona, very quickly, I just want to talk about this coming Friday. ANC in Gauteng going to have a special meeting, they tell us. What are we hoping to hear from this special meeting? I don't imagine they're going to deal with load shedding, are they?
No, certainly, but I think they will want to appear as coming up with a mandate that they are giving to, the new premier. Maybe they will have a sense of dates. Remember that that Friday will mean that David Makura would have returned from his international trips, and therefore they will be preparing for the new dispensation of a new premier who's most likely to be the current provincial chairperson. Of course, Gareth, that special meeting will also be taking place on the backdrop of the ANC Provincial Executive Committee in KwaZulu-Natal has actually implored its regional executive committees to meet with branches between today and tomorrow to consolidate a position towards the December conference. And it may just mean that the KZN Provincial Executive Committee of the ANC itself might have a consolidated view that it may communicate to society by the weekend, even though they've said they are quite skeptical to lead the branches in terms of the leadership issue, and they want to give space and time. But it seems as though their urgency for regions to meet means that they don't want to be left behind too much, as different provinces have been pronouncing on their preferred leadership. It's really election season from the ANC, and where there is, elective conference in the air, there tends to be a great absence of ideas within the ANC during that period.
Yeah, and we're getting closer and closer as well to December as well. We can't have an absence of ideas because decisions need to be made in December, or else the ANC are going to find themselves in a lot of trouble come 2024 if they don't get it right at the elective conference. On the spot host for us, Lukhona Mnguni. If you haven't seen this weekend's show or any of the shows of his that you've missed, you can go and find them on enca.com.